Hey YouTube, welcome to Trevor's Vinyl World. Today we are looking at the band Geese and their album Getting Killed. This came out 2025. I'm very excited about this band. They first caught my eye when I saw them on Saturday Night Live, and so they're kind of new to me. And but everything so far, I listen to a lot of bands that are getting old, and I'm trying to find some, fresh, younger bands. I do listen to like Bring Me the Horizon. They're not super young, but they're also not like as old as like the Chili Peppers, Guns N' Roses, these bands that have just been around forever that I've been listening to. So I'm trying to find more bands like this that are younger. The lead singer is only 23 years old, and just very impressed that I try to keep that in mind. Even when Guns N' Roses released Appetite for Destruction, I believe Axl Rose was like, 25 years old when the band blew up. So 23 for a frontman is pretty darn young. So I am trying to give this band Geese a little leeway here, kind of like how a coach would give a young quarterback. You got to give them a little rope, and they're not going to be perfect right out of the gate. I mean, every once in a while a band will release a perfect first album, but that's usually not the case. And this band has had other albums, so this isn't their first rodeo or anything, but they are still very young. So I am taking that into account. And the lead singer also released a solo album called Heavy Metal. But I just find their music interesting. I've heard comparisons to Radiohead. I will admit I am not the biggest Radiohead fan, so that in a way I wasn't thrilled about that. But from what I've heard so far, I am impressed. Not every song is my cup of tea. I do hope that in the future, I would like more of their songs to be a little harder, a little more power to them. But I still like what I see. I kind of find it interesting too. I know it's a sensitive topic, but the guitarist, one of the guitarists in the band is a transgender woman. It's just kind of interesting. Like, how many famous, like, let's say this band blows up, which currently they are on the rise. I mean, this is a band that, when you're on the internet, it's a lot of positivity. Some people don't like the voice of the lead singer. It takes a little, not getting used to, but even if you're not a huge fan of his voice, he does fluctuate. But getting back to my point, all I was going to say is that one of the guitarists is a transgender woman. And I think nowadays with, LBGTQ and artists like Lady Gaga and, a lot of artists that are showing love to the LBGTQ community, I honestly have never seen a guitarist in a band who is like a trans woman. There's a lot of bands I like that have female front women or female guitarists, but I cannot for the life of me name a transgender guitarist. If anyone out there can think of one in another band, send it as a comment. It's just kind of a observation I made. And then let's see here. But no, I'm not in love with this album, but I also am hopeful from this that their next work is going to be even better. If I were them, and obviously they can do whatever the heck they want, and these are young people that are going to do whatever they want. But I would like to see a little more like hard rock in some of these songs. But, you know, because they have the capability. I mean, when they want to rock out, they can. But most of these songs are a little more on the, not really post-punk, but like a little more on the lighter version. And let's see, I'm just trying to look at my notes here real quick. But yeah, for the most part, I really do like what I've heard so far. And let's see. Yeah, I mean, I feel like, you know, maybe you could compare them to the Strokes. But there's a lot going on. Like, there's a lot of variances in their sound, which I like. I mean, sometimes you're listening to a song and you're kind of wondering what other instrument are they using, or what exactly is going on. Like, there's different, like, I guess, textures or levels. But yeah, no, I just wanted to, you know, leave a short video on them. This is a band I am rooting for. They had an album, well, it was I think maybe it was an EP called 3D Country that came out 2023. I have not heard anything from that, so I'll have to check that out next. And anyone that is curious about the band and, you know, you don't want to just rush out and buy the record, other than, you know, downloading, it's probably hard to download the full album right now, but you could, you know, obviously do Spotify and do each track. But another thing that I did was, if you Google Geese getting killed from the basement, that brings up a 35-minute set they did from the basement, and it's very good. It's a little out of order from the album track list, but basically they're playing all their songs. And yeah, I mean, so far, I would say that this is a band that is on my radar, and they are impressing me. I just need to keep seeing a little more. Like, I'm not totally sold yet, but I like what I see. And I like that they, you know, I've watched a couple of their interviews, and they're serious about the music, but they're not serious about other stuff. That's kind of how my Nirvana was. You know, when they're playing, they are all business, and they are, you know, they are doing their craft. But then when you're interviewing them, they're just kind of in their own world, or they're not taking things seriously. And I like bands like that. And I can tell that this band is like a close unit. Like, they are friends. Like, maybe I know they're from New York. But the vibe is that they all get along. And, no, I just, all positive vibes so far. Keep it going, Geese. And, you know, if they come to Minnesota sometime, I might have to go check them out. It does kind of make me think of way back in the day when I graduated college. Me and like 6 of my college buddies, we went down to First Avenue and we watched Modest Mouse. And this is before Modest Mouse made it real big. So they were still like an indie rock band that a lot of people hadn't heard of. And it was special to be there and know that we like this band and this is our band. And but mainstream media doesn't know about them yet. And then when mainstream media heard about Modest Mouse, we were proud of them. And then after a while, you're kind of like, you know, I kind of liked it when it was just ours. But I think Geese right now still has that, you know, cult following or under the radar following, and they might blow up pretty soon here. That's what it looks like. But anyways, everybody have a good one. Subscribe to the channel. Send this to a friend. Rock on. Talk to you later.